Last week, the City of Maricopa came together for the largest community cleanup campaign in the city's history. Individuals from all walks of life rallied and walked throughout their community, picking up litter in a vow to keep Maricopa beautiful. We received dozens of emails from groups showcasing their efforts to keep Maricopa beautiful by collecting multiple bags of litter during the 2-hour-only event. To learn more about the next community cleanup event, please visit keepmaricopabeautiful.com.
Good morning, City of Maricopa. We are standing on the north side of town on State Route 347, which is the main entrance into the City of Maricopa. Over the last few years, we've seen tremendous growth with residential and commercial. As growth continues, it gives us the opportunity to do additional projects, one of which is a landscaping project down the 347. It'll go from Honeycutt Road to the north entries of town. This includes trees, landscaping, rock boulders, some metal art deco. There'll be some lighted metal structures all the way down the median. When you pull into the north side of town, we're going to have an impressive monument right in the middle of the road that represents the City of Maricopa, which has been well needed for many years. This project has been years, maybe even decades in the making, with City Council and citizens' requests and responses to increase the beautification of coming into town. We'd like to thank each one of you for the time, effort, energy, and the patience of getting this done. We look forward to having this project completed by the end of the year.
Hi, good morning. This is Mayor Christian Price and Councilman Rich Vitiello. We are here at the grand opening of the new community center, which hosts a wing for the veterans and also a wing for the seniors, so a senior center, as well as a middle area that is a community center where all types of different things can be hosted, or either of those organizations can overflow into it. This is a very exciting day as the seniors have waited long and hard for a dedicated location where they could come and socialize and play cards and do things and have a location that was truly theirs. And so it's a very special day for them and for the veterans and really for the entire city of Maricopa.
I just also want to thank the past and present councils, city managers, everybody, mayors. I don't want to leave anybody out, council members, but without all that prior, today wouldn't have happened. And as I said earlier, without our veterans, we wouldn't be here today. And again, God bless you and thank you for getting us to where we are and living in this greatest country in the world.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, Luis Vila, Communications Coordinator for the City of Maricopa. I'm reporting right inside the brand new Sprouts grocery store with the Senior Project Superintendent, Mike Kelly from AR Mays, who's been working on developing and constructing this very grocery store coming to our community in the very near future. Hi Mike, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the construction process and how everything's gone thus far?
It's actually been a real pleasure to work with the City of Maricopa, from the front office to the building inspectors, fire marshal, fire inspectors. It's gone really smoothly. So here in Maricopa, you guys have done a great job and it's been a great project so far.
And I know some people may be worried that the shelves are empty right now. So when can we expect the actual groceries and everything to be delivered?
The next big step for us here inside the store is going to be to start stocking dry goods. So things are going to start happening real quick.
Okay. Final question. Everyone's really want to know, when is Sprouts going to be open?
Well, I hope you're here the 25th so that you can get your tuna salad.
I will definitely be here, and I hope to see all of you here. For all the latest developments and great things happening with the City of Maricopa, please check out what'snewmaricopa.com. Last week, the city of Maricopa came together for the largest community cleanup campaign in the city's history. Individuals from all walks of life rallied and walked throughout their community, picking up litter in a vow to keep Maricopa beautiful. We received dozens of emails from groups showcasing their efforts to keep Maricopa beautiful by collecting multiple bags of litter during the 2-hour-only event. To learn more about the next community cleanup event, please visit keepmaricopabeautiful.com.
Good morning, City of Maricopa. We are standing on the north side of town on State Route 347, which is the main entrance into the City of Maricopa. Over the last few years, we've seen tremendous growth with residential and commercial. As growth continues, it gives us the opportunity to do additional projects, one of which is a landscaping project down the 347. It'll go from Honeycutt Road to the north entries of town. This includes trees, landscaping, rock boulders, some metal art deco. There'll be some lighted metal structures all the way down the median. When you pull into the north side of town, we're going to have an impressive monument right in the middle of the road that represents the city of Maricopa, which has been well needed for many years. This project has been years, maybe even decades in the making, with city council and citizens' requests and responses to increase the beautification of coming into town. We'd like to thank each one of you for the time, effort, energy, and the patience of getting this done. We look forward to having this project completed by the end of the year.
We will go ahead and call this meeting to order of the July 11th, 2021 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Invocation by Commissioner Sharp, Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Bill. Please stand. Invocation for you, I'm sorry. Pledge of Allegiance for Bill, sorry.
You don't have?
I'm sorry.
You all look alike.
No.
Let us keep our heads, our ears open so we hear of the people, and just be with us to remember that one of the things you tell us is that we do love our neighbors as we love ourselves.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner LaFall? Here. Commissioner Yocum?
Here.
Vice Chair Sharp?
Here.
Madam Huggins?
Here.
Commissioner Irving?
Here.
Commissioner Frank?
Here.
Commissioner Robertson? Here. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. All righty, call to the order, guys. If you'd like to speak, go ahead and come forward, state your name and your address. Your wants. Thank you. We'll go ahead and close them. All the public. Minutes. We have two. Approval from the August 9th, 2021, 4.1 and 4.2, September 13th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Move approval as submitted.
Second.
Seconded.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. All right, 5.1, GPA 21-01, public hearing, request by Eric, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, I'm sorry, of Maricopa, AHILLLP, to amend 27.09 acres of general plan future land use map apportion Pinal County parcel number 510-300-02C from existing public institution P to mixed use MU, located on the southeast corner of North Porter Road and West Applegate Road, just north of Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. Discussion and action.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Chair Huggins. So this is a request for public hearing, GPA 2105 and zoning 21-03. The subject site is approximately 27 acres. It's a portion of Pinal County, parcel number 510-300-02C. There is a total acreage of 27 acres to be the general planned amendment to the future land use map. Approximately half of that will also be talked about this evening for a rezone to amend about 13 acres for the zoning map change. Okay. So the general plan amendment, GPA amendment, the existing designation is currently public institutional, and the proposed by the applicant will be for a mixed use designation. And the zoning map change, we have an existing light industry and warehouse CI1 designation, and they are requesting a proposed general mixed use zoning. Just a quick review of the entitlement process plus construction. We are currently in part one of this process. So the general plan amendment is going to be the first thing for tonight's public hearing and the first thing that there will be action upon. If approved, then part two will be the rezone. And then after the rezone, the applicant will come in with the development review permit. We currently have the development review permit in the office. It's under second review right now, but it's not ready to go before P&Z. We're thinking probably November 8th. You guys are going to see that. So at the very end of tonight's presentation, I'm going to go ahead and give you just a quick preview of that DRP of what we have so far. We'll look at the site plan and the elevations. But for tonight, we're just focusing on the general plan amendment and the rezone. So we're just looking at the use and the redesignation of that general plan land use map and the rezone for the zoning map amendment as well. Okay, so you guys will talk all about the site plan and the design and the parking and everything when the DRP comes in November 8th. Okay. And then last but not least, part 4, the building permit. So that just gives us an idea of the main steps that we have here between the entitlement and the actual construction of the site. Part 1 and 2, as you guys may know, after it goes through P&Z, you guys will give a recommendation to City Council. City Council will have final authority to vote yay or nay on the general plan amendment and the rezone. When we come back for that DRP, the Planning and Zoning Commission will have full approval to approve that development review permit at that time. Here's a little bit about the site. So, as I said before, it's currently, the general planned use is public institutional. The existing zoning is light industry and warehouse. Basically, the applicant would like to change both of those to mixed use, kind of in line with what's across the street with the Oasis project. It has a similar, exact same designation. So the whole area there in Porter on both sides of the road, the city is foreseeing more of a mixed-use kind of development there. It's already mixed use with the Oasis right next door to the Walmart and the other commercial businesses that are there currently. The overlay zoning, there isn't currently an overlay zoning. Just a preview, we'll talk more about that, like I said, in the future, but they are proposing a apartment complex with about 312 dwelling units, a high-density apartment complex. Here's the location. So as you can see, it's just right there at the northeast corner of Porter Road and Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. You can see Walmart right across the street adjacent. And not shown on the map is the Oasis development just to the northwest of the site. So this graphic shows the public institutional designation for the site. As you can see, the zigzag kind of line in the middle, there is going to be a minor land division that's going to need to be done to break up this one parcel into two. Both parcels, future parcels, which are one parcel now, are going to go through this general plan land use designation. So the proposed land use designation change will be to mixed use. And as you can see to the west, we already have that mixed use designation. So we feel that it's a contiguous use and would be a good fit for the site. In addition, I should mention, we talked earlier, commissioners, about losing inventory for some of the previous cases we've looked at for commercial. Public institutional would not allow any commercial whatsoever, so we're actually opening up the opportunity for more commercial on this site by changing the future land use to mixed use. So through our analysis, we determined that this is a minor amendment. The reason for that is because of the number of acres, less than 40 acres for the trigger that would turn it into a major general plan amendment. And then we also determined the infrastructure criteria is also listed as independent consideration or acreage. So there will not be any costly capital improvements with this because of Porter's development already. The applicant will, of course, beautify Porter and landscaping along Porter, but no costly roads to be built or anything of that nature. So that's why it was is considered to be a minor general plan amendment. I'm going to switch over and just talk a little bit about the zoning. The current zoning is industry, light industry and warehouse. And as you can see, only the southern half of the previously mentioned 2 parcels are going to be going through that zoning change. Okay, so currently it's a CI1 zoning, and they are proposing that mixed-use zoning. So the other parcel, when it comes in to be zoned, we'll have the opportunity then to see what their land plan is for the other site for the rezone. It's my opinion that, and we talked to the applicant about this, it's kind of, when we went through the pre-application process for this, we talked about, okay, well, we understand that the type of apartments that they're building, there cannot contain a commercial element, but it's staff's opinion that that remaining parcel, when it does come in, if this does get approved for mixed use, needs to definitely have a commercial component as part of it for it to be considered mixed use, because we don't want to go and approve things for mixed use and then only approve residential uses on the mixed use parcel. The applicant did follow the requirements set forth in the city zoning code for public hearing. There was an advertisement made. The notifications were sent out to the property owners within 600 feet. Neighborhood meeting was held on August 26 here at the Maricopa Library and Cultural Center. There was no attendees. At this time, the report was written. Staff has not received any formal comments regarding this request. I did include the citizen participation report with the staff report. It's actually Exhibit B, excuse the typo there. So when looking at the minor general plan amendment request, staff's opinion that goal B1.4, B2.2, goal E3.1 were all met. We found that there's less conflict between land uses as it is contiguous with the mixed-use development to the west. We also found that the development provides a more diverse housing stock. This is going to be more workforce housing, so different levels for different income levels housing. It's also going to create a safe and functional pedestrian way. We're going to emphasize pedestrian connections, sidewalks, safe crossings, cross to Walmart or whatever developments are going to be to the south or to the north. Currently, the land to the south is owned by the State Land Trust, but when sold, it's likely to be commercial because it is on that corner. So we want to ensure that there's connections between this development and that future probable, I should say, commercial development to the south. On to the zoning map amendment. The findings also, if the general plan amendment is approved and changed to mixed use, then the zoning would be consistent with the general plan. Any change in the district boundaries is necessary to achieve the balance of land uses. We found that that is the case with this project. And then the amendment will promote the growth of the city in an orderly manner and protect the public health, safety, peace, comfort, and general welfare. Staff's opinion that this is also being met with this project. Chair Huggins, I believe I am to pause now for public comment before the recommendation is made. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I have a couple of questions.
He's not the applicant, but I think we're okay. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Okay, sure.
Say your name. Yeah, thanks, Baron. Sounds great. Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the Commission, my name is Eric Amdahl. I'm with Real Estate Equities, representing the applicant of both of these cases in front of you today. Just wanted to first say thank you for inviting us down to your city. We've really been excited to work with staff. It's been a good process thus far. We're really excited about the project in front of you. And of course, happy to address any questions. And I would add, we also have with us today a member from Eldorado Holdings, who's a co-applicant on the general plan amendment, as they're the landholder of the adjacent property to the north that'll be divided upon approval of this amendment in our closing. So happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak on this matter, please step forward. Records, please.
Hello, Chair Huggins. My name is Stanley Fritz. I live here in Desert Passage, and I would just like to say that as a resident of Maricopa, I absolutely love this town. We've only lived here for a year.
State your address for the record, please.
Yes, ma'am. 18734 North Tanners Way. I would like to bring a couple of things up. Right now, 347 is overstressed, and this is increasing density of residential use. We're going to bring a lot more residents in a very small area, and I am concerned about the number of residents that brings in. We already have a big problem in traffic. I have a concern with that level of density that we end up with increased concerns about traffic crime. We have an adjacent school, and the area around it is already, more moderately dense residential areas. So I have to say that 24 units per acre just concerns the hell out of me. And that's about 3 times what I would hope for our area. I want to keep this community as beautiful as it is, and I would really like to not see this occur. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you very much. All right, let's open it up to commissioners. We'll start out on the internet. Commissioner Sharp, anything?
I have a couple of questions. Thank you so much for the presentation. The first is, it was my understanding that this site in the corridor was originally slated to be the Maricopa Hospital site. I know that it was public and institution, but I've been in the city for a number of years, and that was always slated to be that. So if we remove this particular general use plan, have we designated another site for a potential hospital for the city of Maricopa?
Thank you, Vice Chair Sharp, for the question. I believe I can speak on, there are some other options coming into the city for hospitals. We do have the approved hospital that is under construction right now. The name is Exceptional Health. Yeah.
Exceptional Health.
So Exceptional Health, and then, do you want to speak on the other one? I'm going to pass it really quick. Commissioner Sharp.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I think the question is in relation to the concern of the removal of the public institution land use area. We still have attraction for hospitals in the city. We have other land use categories that'll still provide opportunities for hospitals, such as employment land use designations. So with the removal of this, it does provide a mixture of whether school facilities or institutional facilities, or any type of facilities. From staff's perspective, this doesn't really hurt our inventory of potential land use opportunities for other type institutional facilities like a hospital, as others are in the works, and we have other designations that also allow for a hospital designation in the city as well.
And in addition to that, if I'm not mistaken, if they found a piece of property that wasn't in that designation, they can actually ask for rezoning as well.
That's correct, yes.
We can go backwards to that one, or forwards, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on that, and I do apologize. I'm on a little bit of a delay. And there was one other component that during the presentation that was mentioned, which had to do with the commercial development on, I couldn't understand, did you say an adjacent lot or was it, because what we're doing is we're taking this and we're turning it into mixed use, and you indicated that we didn't want to change the zoning to mixed use in order to just have residential. I support that, I understand that, and that makes sense. But what's the enforcement mechanism to ensure that, you know, the next project does contain a commercial component?
While the mixed-use designation does technically, they have the right by zoning to build only residential, it would be, our enforcement mechanism would be to, you know, hopefully work with the applicant as promised, because we've already had these conversations. Also, it has to come before Planning and Zoning Commission as well for any sort of zoning approval. So I believe something of that nature in a mixed-use area would need overwhelming support by both staff, Planning and Zoning Commission, and the residents of Maricopa in order to get approved at that time.
Okay, I just, you know, I agreed with you when you mentioned that we don't want this to become a slippery slope problem where mixed use is just all residential, right? The intent of mixed use designation is to provide both industrial, maybe some light industrial, commercial, and residential, and a mix thereof. If they just want to do residential, we should just stick with a residential code, right? I'm glad that they gave that commitment. I just wish there was a true, genuine enforcement mechanism to ensure that remained true. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Rachel?
Thank you. And I want to, that's part of what my concern is with Vice Chair Sharp, is that I hear a lot of possiblies and potentiallys, and it seems to be based off of what is being said, not what is being written, and I don't know how that can be enforced. And if we have so much residential, which we've had this discussion in the past, that it just appears that there's 98% residential, where will the commercial, light industrial, where is that going, or when, I guess, is that going to come into play? And if we continue to change things over to make it where everything is so
Eldorado?
Resident intense, where will there be room for that? Because as Commissioner Sharp mentioned, or Vice Chair Sharp mentioned, that was slated for something else. And yes, it did move, but I don't think that the size of it is what is going to, for the hospitals, you know, as we grow as a city and we bring in more residents and we're not balancing that out with the commercial, at some point we still are going to need more. We're going to need more growth in those medical areas where it's going to support the public growth. So I'd just like to know, or it's to see if there's some consideration as to what staff is doing to ensure that there is that balance beyond just, you know, building it and saying they'll come. Once they get here, we still are going to need to be able to support the rapidly growing population.
Right. Thank you.
And with that, okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It doesn't sound like you're finished. Go ahead.
It's okay. Go ahead, because you might answer it.
Okay. I just wanted to also bring up the fact that even though the general plan amendment is on the table for the change to the mixed use, the zoning that is there already, the light industry and warehouse zoning, you know, is going to remain. So if the you know, applicant were to the zoning, the commercial element would still be available. So we're not actually approving any sort of rezone on that northern property right now. It would stay the same as light industry and warehouse. And if there was a commissioner's opinion that the zoning didn't match what the use was, for example, then they could deny the zoning application or recommend denial of the zoning application if so needed, because the current light industrial warehouse, I'm hoping I'm making sense, supports the mixed-use designation more than a residential-only designation would. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? No? Should I try it again?
Sort of. It's just when you're speaking, it really fades out, so.
Okay. I'm going to try.
Pardon the pause.
I'm going to try one more time. So if the general plan amendment gets approved this evening for the mixed-use designation, and the rezone gets approved for the southern parcel, the northern parcel in which we are speaking of is still going to remain the current zoning, which is light industry warehouse. So that in itself would still give that option for commercial. So if an applicant came in and they wanted to rezone it to something that was strictly for residential, we could deny that request based on the fact that it's a mixed-use area, and the current zoning of light industry and warehouse better supports mixed use than just a residential use, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry I wasn't more clear the first time.
Anything else, Ms. Rachel?
Yes, and the other component of my questions were going to be related to, of course, the flood zone, and then asking is Global Water going to be the servicer for that area as well?
Yes, I believe Global Water is the servicer of that area as well.
And then you mentioned that there would be the safety component and then the pedestrian friendly. So are there going to be walkways? Are you adding crosswalks, or will those be the existing crosswalks that'll give access to the adjacent mixed use area where the Walmart and all those other businesses are?
Commissioner LaFault, I just wanted to reemphasize that we're not talking about the site plan review at this time, but I believe there will be a traffic light that's going to be required there, and with that, of course, there was going to be a walkway at that intersection.
Yeah, we can definitely get into that during the site plan
Correct.
issue. This is just for
Okay.
the change in the use. But great question. Don't let that
And
go.
I apologize again. It's difficult to hear when I can hear you, Chairperson Huggins, very clearly, but when he's speaking, it just kind of trails. So I try to listen to it online, but of course there's that delay. So I'll wait until we get to the next component. Thank you. That's it for me.
No, you're fine. Just don't lose that question. That's a great question for when we do talk about the site plan. I appreciate that question.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, let's turn it over to the in-person. Commissioner Yocum, anything?
I agree with everything that has been said as far as our concern about the commercial component. And I also agree with our flood zone concerns and water sewer. I do have a number of other questions which I'll ask during our segment 2.
Okay, Commissioner Irving.
I know it's hard and people keep bouncing back and forth between the zoning and the minor general plan. My concern goes to the staff report, and we talk about assure the development of diverse housing stock in both dwelling and type of density, and that's the goal. But then we refer to a housing need assessment study is necessary to clearly define areas of need for housing. But that was done in 2018. My issue is with all of this, it's more of a general concept, nothing against what they're planning, is I don't think we've adequately addressed the issue of need in 2021. So when I look at this, I feel that we owe citizens, for your concern and others, is that what is really our need? Do we even have the faintest idea what our need is based upon this? Then the other thing, we talk about the zoning change will not impact the health, safety, and general welfare of the area and will promote growth in an orderly manner. Again, I don't know if we have a matrix to determine what that even means. So I guess my concern is we're going to continue to get the complaints until I see a general plan overall down the road to the zoning. Does that make sense? So again, if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there? And I think what I hear is people are saying, well, you say that very clearly to impact the health and safety, but how do we know when we get there? And again, back to your report, which talks about a housing needs assessment that's just 3 years old. A simple question: how many houses have we built since 2018? How many have we approved as a group since 2018? Again, I just think, to me, it's giving the citizens more overall information about a plan that I think is what causes the confusion. I mean, is there a need or isn't there a need?
I see Rudy walking up. I think you might be addressing this.
Good. I hope he has plenty
I didn't
of
understand
charts
if there was a specific question or not. Sorry.
Well, it's an overall issue to the criteria that we have to approve anything. It's not mine, it's yours. And all I'm saying is there's a matrix to answer those. Your
Chair,
criteria.
Commissioners, maybe the statement in the staff report's misquoted in a way. So the plan, there's the housing needs assessment was done, and if you recall, after the assessment was done, we then adopted a plan after that. So we do have an actual action plan that was based off the needs assessment that showed us what we were shortage of in terms of housing stock, and that plan gave us direction from staff of what plan actions we need to do to entice and promote multifamily developments in the city of Maricopa. And basically what you're seeing for the past 2 years has worked. We've been starting to get that traction and movement of multifamily in the city of Maricopa with that plan of action movement that we've been doing. So the assessment was done, and again, it was maybe misquoted, not the right statement to utilize, maybe utilizing the plan statement, the plan document that shows the goals and objectives of how we're meeting those.
Responding to your answer, that leads me to believe is that you do have a plan.
Yes.
Then my logical question would be, how close are we today to meeting that objective? What is in that plan?
Ballpark, we've kind of, in the plan action, about 5,000 in terms of a housing stock of multifamily is what we're trying to shoot for.
Okay.
Right now we have about 120 built. We have, this one will be adding another 300 or so, and we have another, what we've seen recently has been the hundreds. So I will say we're hitting the mark of about 20%, 30% of that 100% plan of 5,000.
And I guess that's all I think people need to know.
Yeah.
Is that we had a plan, we had a goal, we're reaching to that. That's all.
I would like to respectfully ask to answer his question and help our constituents know what those answers are, is that to provide that information to us in a staff report at the next meeting.
Yes.
That way we will have a definite, okay, we've added X number of, houses, X number of multi-use. Because, I mean, Commissioner Irving's correct. We've got this plan that we're building off of, but where are we at? I mean, I know obviously we can't do a new general plan, but maybe like, an update to the general plan status report. I mean, where are we at in the, because we've had a lot of stuff come before us, and where are we at? We've had the questions constantly posed to us. Well, we're reducing commercial. Okay, so where are we at on that too? We're taking away, in this case, we're taking away light industrial. What do we have left? I think we just keep hearing and it could be rightfully so, that we're still okay, But unless we have it in writing, are we really okay?
Duly noted. And I think that those are good items for maybe our quarterly meeting topic items as updates on those specific items, but I don't want to go in details on that more, so. But those are good topics to
And
discuss.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I would like to see it agendized so that the public can see the fact that we are addressing that instead of it just being a workshop quarterly meeting, because a lot of people don't look at that, but they do look at what we're talking about in the meetings.
Okay.
So I'd like to see that be a 2-minute agenda item, let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
I have that noted.
you.
Chair Huggins, thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I have.
Frank?
I think Commissioner Irving and I just had some kind of mind meld or something here this evening, because I was exactly on the same page as what he was saying about this. And as I was on the Housing Needs Assessment Committee, we identified the need to have some more diverse housing in Maricopa. But I don't think anybody ever envisioned the rate at which that would happen. Right, and so I do agree. I think we need some kind of reevaluation of that, whether it needs to come from council. We got several council members here tonight, and give that direction to staff or what. But I think it's something that we need to watch and just be mindful of the impacts. You know, be careful what you wish for, kind of situation. So I don't really have a challenge with what the applicant is trying to do here as far as zoning and that kind of thing, but just the overall overriding concern about the abundance of multi-use that we're getting in the city. So that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Byron, I wonder if what we know about future expansion of Legacy Traditional School or Central Arizona College is affected in any way by this movement of land, either positive or negatively.
I don't have a concrete answer for that, Commissioner Robertson. I would say that intuitively, more housing would probably benefit the college, having more affordable housing options for people that go to the college. There aren't any concrete studies that I can point to or anything like that, but just intuitively what I know about the area and the need for more affordable housing in the city, I think that would probably benefit the college. As for the schools, they obviously have to be kept in the loop and sign off on any growth and make sure they have the capacity and to determine whether or not they're going to need to build another school or whatnot. So they are part of the reviewing members of our technical advisory committee and do review such projects and provide their input.
So if either institution were to expand, they would fit into the proposed public institutional property that is behind this segment that we're talking about.
That's correct. Yeah, there's quite a bit of vacant land in that blue area directly east adjacent to the site.
Thank you. I did have a couple things. One of the things that I was a little concerned about was a comment that you made about the fact that the applicant, and maybe the applicant can answer this question, was the fact that there was no time frame of when the commercial or mixed-use area would be developed. I mean, are we talking like, that's kind of scary to me, because if we're going to sit there and take this away, how long is it going to sit there when it could be sitting there for the other use? I mean, are we throwing more? I mean, yes, I know we need the housing and stuff, but are we going to be throwing more houses out there next to empty lands? And that's what my concern is.
Okay, I'd like to have the applicant come up and address your concern. Chair Huggins.
What you get for retiring from here, Brad? You can keep coming back.
I know, I like it so much.
Shouldn't have left.
Madam Chair, Brad Hinton with Eldorado Holdings, representing the landowner, not the main applicant. But to answer your question, I think it's very important to point to that map that's being shown now. The light blue area that we're moving forward with as a general plan amendment to mixed use, but only the south half, so that wiggly line, only the south half is moving forward with the actual zoning for the high-density residential. The balance, where it says El Dorado Porter 27 LLC, it's being moved to mixed use on the general plan, but the hard zoning is staying light industrial and commercial. So there's your mixed use as a whole when it comes to that, the entire land that's before you today. So as they were trying to explain earlier, we would have to, the land to the north that says El Dorado Porter 27 in the light blue, in order for it to be residential as well, it would have to come before you for a rezone. So as of right now, the mixed use, as far as hard zoning goes, this is more consistent with the general plan as public institution as it is today. And then as far as the specific question that you had, the South Copa Flats piece, they're moving forward with construction drawings right now. So their plan is full steam ahead to develop the high density apartment. The balance of El Dorado's property is still up in the air. You know, we wait till we have a buyer. But the hard zoning case before you today of the apartments is moving forward full steam ahead.
That's my point. So we're rezoning this from the public institution to this mixed use for it to sit there. Or, I mean, sorry, light industrial.
No, yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
We're the only rezone that we're doing here today, or
No, I get that, but my thing is if it's not going to be developed, why are we trying to rezone that now? We're taking away something that's
we're
just
not
going to...
rezoning the northern property. We're only rezoning that south portion right there. All we're doing is changing the general plan to be more consistent with the hard zoning that's already there. Because right now, the light industry and warehouse does not match with public institution. They do not match. So your general plan is calling for, the general plan right now shows public institution, and the zoning right now, is light industry and warehouse. They do not match. So this GPA was going to align the zoning, the hard zoning, with the general plan.
I'm out. My brain was not there. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I just got concerned, and what threw me off for a loop is when you said that there was no plans to do the commercial, and I'm like, well, then why are we doing this? But now I get it. So
that would be a future zoning case if need be. It already would be perfectly zoned for a mixed-use development because it's already zoned the light industrial.
Right. So like I said, my light bulb just
Anytime.
went.
I couldn't explain what he just did a minute ago, so there you go.
Oh, he did a good job. That's
Yeah,
why
he
it was
did it way better than
starting
I
to
did.
come on, and then he's whispering in my ear, and then it all went on. So
Yeah.
So can I just clarify a question? Sure. So where is the area that you are wanting to preserve the commercial at then? You said we want to have a mix here and not all
right. So
residential.
This entire area in light blue, okay, that entire area is what we're trying to preserve as a mixed-use development. So by rezoning just the south portion, we're leaving the northern portion light industrial, and which would allow commercial uses. So it would be ready to go for a true mixed-use development without any future zoning whatsoever. As it is now, that would not work.
So then it's a plan that the Copa Flats is going to be apartments, all monolithic.
Right.
And
So it'll be the residential component of the mixed use.
So then somewhere in that other area, the El Dorado or somewhere in there, we're hoping to have a commercial.
Well, they would have to go, like the gentleman said, they would have to go through a rezone if they wanted to do something residential. So that would be our time to say, no, this is a commercial. This is a mixed-use development, and you cannot do residential there.
right, and that's where my main concern was not being able to have them just pop up more apartments there within
Right. So just want to make sure we're all on the same.
We're all on the same page.
Thank you.
Just took a little longer for my light bulb to turn on, but then I think I started dimming yours a little bit.
It's a little complicated, but I thought it would even be more complicated if we did them separately, because then we'd have to go back to the previous presentation and go back and forth, and so,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
The only other thing that I was going to bring up is when I was looking, and I know that it's not for discussion today, but there was mesquite trees listed on there, so just saying. Yeah, I know.
No, they know that. They know that I'm on them about that, so they won't.
All right, guys, this is for action as well.
Madam Chair, Madam.
Well, let me just back up, guys. Let me actually do my formal, you don't know if we're actually recommending or not. I didn't get quite to that point yet. So I do recommend, staff recommends approval of minor general plan amendment request, GPA 21-05, subject to the conditions of approval stated in the staff report and is amended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Quick reminder, this approval serves as a recommendation to City Council. And then 5.2, staff recommends approval of zone map amendment request number zone 21-03, subject to the conditions of approval stated in the staff report and amended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Start with 5.1, please.
5.1, though. Yeah, go ahead.
I move approval.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, so moved.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Just a quick preview of that development review permit that'll be before you November 8th. This is just showing you a quick idea of how the site is.
Byron, I think.
Yes, sir.
I have to announce
Yes,
it
ma'am.
first. Let me go ahead and announce the topic first.
Sure, go for it.
All right, next item on the agenda is 5.2, Zone ZON 21-03, public hearing, request by Eric, sorry, I'm not going to pronounce your name again, of Maricopa LLP to rezone approximately 13 acres, a portion of Pinal County parcel number 510-300-02C from existing light industrial warehouse CI1 to general mixed use MUG, located on the southeast corner of North Porter Road and West Applegate Road, just north of Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. Discussion and action. On your mark and set, go.
So discussion, we've already had the discussion. Can I skip right to the recommendation again? So,
yeah.
Staff recommends approval of zone map amendment request number zone 21-03, subject to the conditions of approval stated in the staff report and as amended by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, I think I'm just going to say, is there any commissioners that have any questions or concerns, considering this is almost the same thing?
It is.
No.
Ms. Rachel?
No.
Awesome. With that being said, this is action required.
Madam Chair, I move approval of.
Madam Chair? This is
Oh,
a
I'm
public
sorry, it's a
hearing.
public
Oh,
hearing.
that's
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, Mr. Nick. That's why you're here. Go ahead and open up the public hearing. I forgot to. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. All right, Mr. Irving. Try it again.
Madam Chair, I move approval.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Awesome, we do have a second. A first and a second. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Thank you. Just remember, no mesquites.
Okay.
Palo Verdes.
All right, quick preview. So as you can see, there's several different types of building styles. The design we are going to have is consistent with the mixed-use development. Building L and M will be along Porter Road, and we'll have increased landscaping and architectural elements to improve the look of those buildings directly on Porter Road. As you can see from the layout, there is a keypad. This is a private community. Most of the parking is in the rear of the complex, which also meets code and is something that we strive for.
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Yes, ma'am.
We already approved it.
I know this is just a preview of the DRP that we're going to be looking at on November 8th. I won't take much more time.
Byron, we're gonna have to stop. It's not on, this is not an agenda item.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. You'll just have to wait. The anticipation, just have to wait until next time.
We'll be holding on to our seats in anticipation.
Okay.
Quit teasing us.
All right, sorry, you can't look at that either, so.
Can't look at any of it, no. Take it off.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
But nice try. Appreciate it. All right, reports from commission and/or staff.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the only update I have is just a reminder for the next P&Z Commission meeting. That is going to be a little hefty load. That's about 5 items or so. We have the 2 general plan amendments cases that we saw at the Copper Sky meeting. And that's October 26th here, October 25th here at City Hall. And then after that, we are scheduled for November 8th, also here at City Hall. And then
You'll have a list of questions that was at.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, prior to that October 25th date, can we have all that information that we talked about the study and where we are? Because that would really be helpful when we have to deal with all
And
this.
then one thing that I mentioned to Chair Huggins and Vice Chair Sharp, if you've noticed, we haven't been doing the 2-on-1 previews for items. I'm asking our team and our staff to get you guys the staff reports a week plus in advance of the meeting dates. So you'll have the staff reports for the October 25th meeting by end of this week. So you have all next week to kind of go over that, comb through it, all the exhibits, hear all the information out. And if there's questions or comments or concerns that you may have or clarifications, you could then, contact Brittany, and then she can vet those questions out to the respectable staff person. Yeah. If there's something that, you'll have all the exhibits and staff reports ready by end of this week, by Thursday. So we have the weekend and all next week to kind of go over it. Just questions. If you want to do one-on-one sit-downs, we can do that. But due to amount of time we have, the amount of staff we have, I felt it'd be easier we'll get you guys the staff reports a lot earlier and sooner, have more time for you guys to review it, and then you can ask questions if there's questions or clarifications needed for more information. So.
Yeah, basically what he's saying is the work sessions that we've been having, which is 2 of us at one time, is we don't do that unless you guys have questions. Staff can better utilize their times doing that.
Yeah.
We appreciated those, but I tend to agree,
Yeah. It was a lot to coordinate the meetings. We appreciate that. I appreciate to entertain the idea, but it just felt more time was taken just to coordinate, and more time was taken to.
But getting us our information earlier
That's the goal.
That's the key. Because before that, we were getting them, like 3 days, 4 days before the meeting. It didn't give us the opportunity to review everything. So, and to Jim's point, making sure that we have all the information and the answers to those questions.
We've asked for an awful
It is going to be a very long
So
night.
I definitely encourage you guys to, we're going to give you guys a week in advance. Please read up on it. And if there's specific questions or items like why is that mentioned that staff report or that statement there, staff, can you please clarify that? We'll be more than happy to clarify that before the meeting. Just give us a heads up. You have our contacts. We'll be readily available if there is any clarification on any items once you receive the staff reports.
One further thing, and I understand your time, but for a tech challenged person like me, if I still want to come out and do that,
That's
can I?
perfectly fine, yes.
I still want to come out and do
Yeah, and that will always be open. Our doors will be open to have one-on-one meetings. If there is questions, we can always sit down, yes.
I'll work that out with you, but I like those for me.
Thank you.
With that being said, if a commissioner, after reviewing it, would like hard copies of everything, then just ask.
Oh, I did. But I still want the one-on.
Awesome. With the agenda being so heavy at our next meeting, what is the agenda looking like for the following meeting?
We only have one item, I think, about just 1 or 2 items. I think just one.
Okay. I'd like to add the item that, to discuss, putting something on the agenda to discuss what happens when council rejects our recommendation. Since we have to have it agendized before we can talk about it, and add it to the agenda, that would be awesome.
For the November 8th.
I don't want to bog up our next meeting because it can end up being a very long conversation. If we have to go in executive session on it, we can do that as well.
Okay. That's all I have, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Awesome. All right, does anybody have any questions? And I don't think there's any reason to go into executive. Your attorney's shaking his head no. Not this one anyways. Might be later, but not this one. With that being said, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you.
Take care.
You prepare for a long meeting.